working some odd hours today, so I figured, why not? Come on, give you my take on what's been going on lately in sports, especially with the NFL. It was obvious that the Chargers probably needed to fire Brandon Staley. Um, Word is that he had lost the locker room, and people were falling out of favor with him inside the locker room. And as you can see, they started to question the decisions that were being made, and it had snowballed into a situation where they were completely unprepared and blown out by the Raiders on Thursday night. Final score being 63-21. Any other time, the Chargers have been pretty much competitive, but that all leads back to Staley having lost favor with his own team. So it was time to make a change. Everybody was calling for it on social media. The writers were talking about it. The fans were sending in tweets and quotes trying to say, well, we need to get rid of Staley. Well, it finally happened yesterday, and rumors are circulating now as to who should replace Staley. And right now, it seems like a lot of people are talking about Bill Belichick. Why Belichick? Because rumor has it that at the end of the year, he's going to part ways with the Patriots. He's been there like 24 years. I think it's time for him to part ways with the Patriots because of the way things have been going lately and the fact that you need a change, a fresh update. Yes, he's been very successful in this league, but at the same time, things catch up to everybody, and he needs to step away before things fall completely off the rails there in New England. But does that mean he should take on another spot? Why not? But at the same time, Belichick is over 70. So how long are you going to stay on the sideline? You're going to die on the sidelines? I don't see the point in that. I think he should take some of that long money he's been making over the years and go out and enjoy himself. Not that he doesn't do it anyway, but step away, let some of these young guys take over the reins. Now, Belichick would be a good fit if he decided to reinvent himself and go somewhere and try some different things with some different players and just be successful. Kind of like what Tom Brady did. He can do it too. But the thing that puzzles me about the New England situation is that Belichick had won all those years, and now all of a sudden he's struggling, and the owner is talking about he wants to replace him. He said he'd never been 2-7 before in his life, and he didn't want to be 2-7 right now. So that lets you know right then that he's thinking about replacing Belichick. Never mind what the man's done for you. Never mind all the success that the team has had. You know, never mind that people look up to the Patriots like they're God because of what Belichick was able to do with New England. But the owner wants to replace him. But that's just the society that we live in. Doesn't matter what you did before, it's what you're doing right now. And right now, Belichick is struggling. Speaking of struggling, the Kansas City Chief offense is struggling. These guys dropping passes left and right, and it's costing them games. But this is something I kind of like predicted when Tyreek Hill left the team. Hill left the team, and I thought they would fall apart last year, but it didn't quite happen. They made enough plays to overcome the loss of Hill with a new receiver set, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. But that's one of the things I want to talk about concerning Kansas City. Yes, Kansas City did win the Super Bowl, but at the great benefit of some calls. Before I get into that, let's go back to what happened. They're complaining about the officials making a call when their receiver clearly lined up offside. That is a Pop Warner mistake that he made. You're supposed to check with the referee on the sideline to make sure you're lined up properly. First of all, he hadn't done any of that. And if you look at the game, progressively he started cheating up and up and up. Now the officials could have warned him, but it's not the official's job to warn you when you're making a mistake. It's to punish you. So when he finally did make the call, it was an obvious call that needed to be made. Kansas City is up in arms that the official did not warn the receiver. Again, it is not the official's responsibility to warn you when you're making a violation. But the thing that interests me about it, Kansas City, of all people, are making the complaints. They are direct beneficiaries of not only that call, on Tony, but they got those calls last year in the playoffs against the Bengals and in the Super Bowl to help them win those games. And now here they are complaining about the officiating. Even Andy Reid. Andy Reid knows how it goes. You get a bad call here and there, so what? You got to play through that. But Patrick Mahomes getting on TV crying about the call, saying it's the official's fault that he made the call, that's ridiculous. I kind of lost respect for Mahomes when he get on TV crying like that. Yes, he says the right thing most of the time, bringing up his receivers, saying that they're doing a good job and they know what kind of players they are and so and so. But the bottom line is he's on TV complaining about the calls. You can't do that, number one, and especially if you're a team like Kansas City who has benefited from those calls. I even seen a call the other night, Monday night, when he was playing, was it Green Bay? He's running near the sideline. He's clearly in bounds. The guy hit him close to the sideline, and he drew a flag for that. You can't call a flag on a guy just because he's close to out of bounds. He didn't try to slide. He was beating around the bush trying to get out of bounds. That's his fault he got hit. So I say, hit him again. But the officials didn't see it that way. But it's again biased toward Kansas City and Mahomes. So the last person to be complaining is Mahomes. But the bottom line is the Kansas City office is struggling. And part of that is one thing that you probably never thought about. Not Tyreek Hill. They overcame that. Eric Bieniemy. If you recall, everybody was giving all the credit for Kansas City's offense to Andy Reid, not Eric Bieniemy. They're saying he can't do what Reid is doing. He's just following in Reid's footsteps, getting all the attention that Reid is really responsible for. But now that he's broken away from Reid, he's doing fairly well in Washington while Kansas City is struggling. So there has to be some kind of direct correlation taking place here. So let's give Eric Bieniemy some credit for doing a good job and for all the success that he had in Kansas City. Despite the fact that Kansas City receivers are dropping passes, Eric Bieniemy was a big part of success in Kansas City. So keep that in mind as you watch the rest of this season unfold. Kansas City is probably going to make the playoffs, but how far they go, probably not so much. And it's all going to go back to Eric Bieniemy. So I just want to come on, give my take about what's going on in the NFL world. Brandon Staley being fired, probably deserved to be so. Belichick is rumored to be a candidate to take his place, but I don't see him moving cross country to take that job. He's a northeastern kind of guy, and Eric Bieniemy deserves more credit than he deserves. Finally, Patrick Mahomes, stop crying, man. Play the damn game. Sports for real.